Hello, this is Eagle Bacon coming to you with another video. Unfortunately, yesterday's video, because I'm on my laptop, I did not properly set up the microphone, so yesterday's video, to summarize it, leveled up my battle pass from 608 all the way to 1017 and opened all the treasures acquired in between. Got a lot of good stuff, and I might be able to do kind of like a narration over the video later on, but for now, I'm going to be... I got another treasure of the Crimson Witness, which was enough to sorry about that, enough to make it so that I can afford to go up to level 2000, which makes me available to, or it makes it so that I can receive the silver-plated Roshan statue, which is really cool. Anyway, just like yesterday's video, I will be opening a bunch of stuff that I got from leveling the battle pass so high, and a little other few things that I got from TI. So let's actually open up the Dodekins. Unfortunately, yes, I did open 4 of them earlier, and the audio was gone in that too, so there is that. But maybe we'll get some very rares or extremely rares in this. Oh, sweet, nice. Okay, we got the extremely rare Roshan emoticon called Stars, which is a stunned Roshan. Awesome. Good start. Fantastic start already. Alright, I guess all we're missing is the very rare, but... Wow! Okay. That's actually pretty amazing. Opened 4 of them yesterday, nothing. 2 today, and I get the very rare and the extremely rare, so that's actually pretty damn good. Wow, okay, well, sorry about the cough. Let's get straight into the immortal treasures. Just going to check my OBS again to make sure the mic is plugged in, because I'm super aware of that now. Let's get into it. So I believe we have about 26 treasures each. So yeah, a hell of a lot of them. Let's just start opening them now. So I'm gonna be doing the standard when all the rares disappear skip, but I do have a lot of stuff to talk about, so I won't be skipping through the whole thing. Anyways, so I guess I should kind of repeat some of the stuff I said yesterday off of the audio. So yesterday I talked a lot about the trade area at TI7 and how it's not nearly as good as it was TI6. TI6 being the first one that I attended in person. The main reason that, oh man, these rares are really sticking around till the end, but bailing out. Okay, so at TI6, here's how the trade went. I basically went to the trade area, and people were trading around their emote charms and their plushies, and basically I did a ton of like 2-for-1s, 3-for-2s, and I got a ton of emote charms and plushies that way, which was great. But this year, there were a few issues. So it started really early on, before TI7 even started, actually. The secret shop was, after it was open to the public on WeLoveFind.com, it was closed only a day later because of ridiculous shipping fees and such and whatnot. Nice, we got a Lycosides favor for Broodmother. Only a rare though. I expect a bit more with so many treasures. But anyway, so the secret shop closed down, which a lot of people were wondering, when's it going to open back up? And the days leading up to the TI main event, no one knew if it was open yet, and people kept posting on Reddit, when's it going to open, when's it going to open? We're super worried, how are we going to get our merchandise? But it actually did open on the Dota 2 website only like 2 days before the tournament actually was to have its first game on the main stage, or playoffs to specify. Anyways, so there was a huge issue in that. A lot of people couldn't find their items and pre-order it and pick up their stuff early. But that's kind of like not a big thing. Like, people learned pretty quickly that their secret stuff, the secret shop was open and they could get their stuff. So people were getting their stuff day 1, day 2, whatever. But when it came to the trade area, oh nice, wow, what a coincidence. We get a golden, what's this called? Profane Union and a normal Profane Union all together. Nice. Anyways, so physically with the trade area, it was next to the secret shop, just like usual, which is a great place to put it. They actually roped off the walkway that goes, like, the closest the direct path to the western entrance of Key Arena. So when people were wandering around and looking out for the trade area, there's actually black tape, or whatever that's called. Nice got a like aside his favor. There was like the black ribbon or whatnot, keeping that pathway closed. So if someone wanted to wander over and trade, they had to go around, which kind of dissuaded like casual people from going over there. If you were going to go to the trade area, you were generally only going to be a person exiting the secret shop or someone going there to trade deliberately. And if you're going there to trade deliberately, you usually know your stuff. So it makes it harder there's less people, and the people who are going there are looking for better deals than you usually want to offer. So in addition to that, there was actually a big problem with the merchandise as well. As some of you might be aware, last year's Series 4 plushies came with a digital unlock code on the top. You might have seen some of those unlocks in my inventory. I believe they're called, what is this? Imbued Lockless Luckface 2016. But this year, Series 5 plushies did not have any of that codage on top. Instead, the codes went to the vinyls, which were a new product. I was actually pretty hyped for that when I first saw them, but not so excited now. I'll explain later. But the codes went to them, and the codes weren't any cosmetics. They were for the emote charms that I just unboxed earlier. So there's sort of less incentive to buy plushies, but you know, people still buy the plushies just for the plushies, not just for the digital unlock. And there are, by the way, the vinyls do come in rarity, but people generally didn't want to trade the vinyls that much from what I saw. And the plushes were sort of like not a big trade item this year. But, you know, I actually didn't trade that much because the trade was actually much slower than last year. They also had, so the biggest problem that I found was that there were no emotive charms at all. So why is that an issue? Why are emotive charms like so important for trading? It's because the plushies, when you get a plushie, it's a random plushie, and you know, some people will just buy one and they'll just be happy with whatever random they get. A lot of people aren't looking to complete the collection right off the bat. And of course, there's the people who buy like 8 and they're like, okay, I want a full collection, let me trade these around. But they're generally only looking for one for once or whatever. But when it comes to the emotive charms, they explicitly said on them, or like there was really well known, that if you collect the stickers for all 6 of the emotive charms, you get a special prize from Valve, or from the event, that you can turn in next to the trade area. And so people who got these emotive charms in their gift bags, so everyone gets a gift bag, so everyone got emotive charms. They saw that you could collect them, and these emotive charms are given out pretty freely. Like, you got like a bunch of them. Oh, sweet. Okay, got another Celine Harvest. That's pretty good. So anyway, back to the emotive charms. So basically everyone had them, and everyone knew that you wanted to collect all 6. So that's why that actually drew a ton of people to the to the trade area. The emotive charms drew them, and perchance they might also trade their plushies and whatever else. So having this collectible, like collect them all, kind of built into the system was actually really good for the trade. But once that was removed, because there's no emotive charms this year, people weren't coming over looking for specific items and looking to trade. Because last year it was something like, oh yeah, I want one of each of the 6 emotive charms. I have like 8 emotive charms, but I've got some duplicates. I'll give you my 8 for one of each, and I'll say, yes, that's fine, and I'll profit 2 emotive charms and go on my way. But there wasn't that collectability, and there was pretty much only plushies and only vinyls. So not that many people went to trade, but the trade area was still, they had people there, and was trading, but I wasn't really that interested in it because it was much, much slower. I was actually spending a lot of my time in the arena. So as I talked about earlier, I got the Steam Cash to level up my battle pass from selling treasures of the Crimson Witnesses. So if you don't know what those are, quick explanation: if you are a TI7 attendee, meaning that you have a midweek badge or a finals badge, and you scan your badge when you go into the key arena, as you will have to, you will be automatically eligible to receive the treasures of the Crimson Witness. Oh, looks like Dota 2 is lagging a bit. Yeah, restoring connections to the game coordinator. So I guess I'll just talk over this. Offline mode, damn. Okay, well, anyways. So once you scan in and you're inside the arena, it will make you eligible for these drops. And so when do they drop? They drop every time there is a first blood in the Valve official matches. You have a chance, not a guarantee, but you have a chance to get one. And so I had 2 badges, and I went in there with someone else every day, and you have to link them to your Steam. I almost said Stink account for some reason. Your Steam account. Sorry about the air conditioning. Your Steam account beforehand, which you can do in the arena if you'd like. Anyways. Basically, you'll just randomly get these treasures, and on the Steam market, they're actually worth around $100. So they're actually really, 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 really awesome to get. And they send you an email so you can get hyped in the moment. So like, you look at the screen, burst blood. You look at your phone, see an email. Oh, we've given you a treasure of the Crimson Witness, and you just get hyped out of your mind. It's awesome. Anyway, back to the case opening. Got another rare, pretty nice. But anyways, so with that, I sold them on the Steam market. I bought tons of Battle Pass levels, and that's leading us directly here. So yeah, other than the Treasure of the Crimson Witness, I wanted to talk about the game and the meta that's been developing. So before the playoffs, I actually hadn't seen that much AA in competitive Dota. I know that the AA Earthshaker had become popular, I think, like the tournament before, but I still hadn't been seeing that much AA, and I actually love playing AA. Like, at least, like, since the start of me playing Dota, oh so many years ago, I actually really liked AA just because of his ultimate. It was super fun. So I'm gonna kind of like think out loud as the reasons. Oh sweet, we got a golden treasure. Nice. I'm going to basically think aloud as why AA is so good in the meta right now. So here's the weaknesses that are so obvious right off the bat. AA has terrible health pool at the start of the game, and his strength gain does not make it better at any point. Building him tanky is not really viable in any way because his gold gain is not good enough and he does not farm well, but he doesn't really need to be tanky for what his role is. So his weakness is sort of made irrelevant if you play with a good awareness of the map. So if you're aware, like, oh yeah, Pudge is missing, I'll hide behind the tower, you should be fine. As long as you're not just like, I don't know, standing in the creep wave trying to farm or something and then you suddenly get ganked, you'll totally be fine. Like, the health pool isn't that big of a deal. If you get caught as AA, you're dead, so just don't get caught. Anyways, so what changed about him that made him so viable in the meta? Actually, no, I should probably talk about his strengths first. Okay, so Cold Feet. Cold Feet is a terrible stun compared to other stuns. So you look at every other stun, and pretty much it's better than Cold Feet. Cold Feet has like a 3-second delay time, and it's way too long if you're trying to stun someone on their own. So you have to set it up with someone else's stun. So you just normally you would say, oh, what's the big deal? Just set it up with another stun. It's just automatically weaker when you need someone else to stun. Wouldn't it be better to just have an instant stun? It would. So yeah, his stun is not great, but it's there. So he does have that disable capability, which I would definitely rather have than not. Next, there's Ice Vortex. So before a recent patch, it just slowed people and amplified their magic, the magic damage that they were taking. And there's actually not that many magic damage amplification abilities in the game. But there's of course like Veil of Discord that anyone can buy. But anyways, don't buy Veil of Discord on AA, please. By the way, there's better items to get first. But it is pretty good because the slow, you can place it down in an area. It's a decent size. It's instant, and the magic amplification is pretty relevant in team fights. So if you like get a I don't know, like an Enigma black hole with Midnight Pulse, and you just throw an Ice Vortex in there, they're gonna take like 25% more damage or something like that. I don't know the numbers specifically. So yeah, Ice Vortex is pretty good. And in the most recent patch, they added it so that not only are enemies' move speed slowed, AA's move speed is increased with the Ice Vortex. So like a little tiny balance change. That might have helped him get into the meta a little bit, even though it's not relevant most of the time. But yeah, really low cooldown as well, I should add. You can really put them all over the team fight when you need to. It would be terrible if it had a really high cooldown. But yeah, next ability is Chilling Touch. So it's a buff / debuff to your teammates in an area, and it gives them magic damage, but it slows their attack speed. So if you play a pub, you'll probably have an AA cast Chilling Touch on you while you're trying to take a tower. Once or twice. That'll definitely happen along your path to 9k MMR or whatever. Oh, nice. Another Golden Cyrudite. It's terrible for hitting towers. It's literally a debuff. It just slows your attack speed. Don't do it. But if you're attacking heroes, maybe perhaps at level 1, it's actually incredibly powerful because it's 50 damage and it gives you 3 stacks. It gives your allies 3 stacks. So let's say it's just you, and like you spot another support and it's level 1, and you're fighting let's say Dazzle or something. You use Chilling Touch on yourself, and normally your attack damage is pretty low, but with that extra 50, 3 instances of that's 150 damage, and that's just on you. It's a huge area and it can cover your entire team. So if you're going for, let's say, a smoke gank on the bounty rune, that's 150 damage multiplied by 5, sort of. If like maximum damage. So that's, I don't know, 150 times 5, 750 damage. That's ridiculous at level 1. But anyway, generally Chilling Touch isn't that noticeable of an ability compared to his ultimate, which is the Ice Blast. So Ice Blast has become so important because not even because it's a global ability. Being a global ability is super nice, but the thing is, to set up an Ice Blast, it takes so much time and prediction that it being global is almost like a non-factor. You have to be pretty good or pretty lucky to land like a full cross-map Ice Blast that even matters. Generally that'll happen when you catch people TPing back to their fountain or walking back to their fountain with low health. But there's better global ults like Zeus. If you want to get cross the map kills, just play Zeus. Even Invoker's much better with Sunstrike. But the thing is, you usually set up with your team. So you have your Faceless Void core position, hit that Chronosphere, and then you are like relatively close by, and you just throw your Ice Blast in there, and he starts wailing on like the tanky offlaner or whatever, like be it Tidehunter, Alchemist. The thing is, the Ice Blast does so much damage, and so you might be thinking, yeah, it impacts and it hits for a lot, but it's not that much. Like, his cons outweigh his little nuke, even though it has a big AoE. Like, what's the big deal? So you definitely also know about the Frozen debuff. So the deal with the Frozen debuff is that, it reduces the enemy's effective health pool by 10%. So at 10% health, they shatter. So if I have a 1000 health hero and I get nuked down to 100% and this effect is on me, I will die instantly. So that basically can be accounted for as temporary damage. At a non-Aghanim's ultimate, it'll only last about 6 seconds. So it's not that long, but it's important when you're trying to burst someone down quickly, as is the whole point of a chronosphere. But basically, you instantly remove 10% health of people in the blast radius and where the orb flies over. You hit the initial magic damage in the blast radius, which is at high levels around 300 to 400. So you get that 10% health removal, you get that little nuke, and you also have a damage over time effect, which totals up to, let's actually pull up the hero and look at it because I'm getting super into this. Ancient Apparition, his ultimate. So damage per second at, let's say, level 3. Let's just assume everything's level 3 on his ultimate without Ags at the moment. It'll hit for 32 frostbite damage per second, and it'll last for 10 seconds. So 320 additional damage. So this is magic damage, and it can be reduced by MR, but let's just assume the enemy has no MR. So 320 frostbite damage, 450 initial magic damage, 10% of their health just straight up removed for this 10-second duration, and they can't regenerate at all, which is kind of a big thing. So let's imagine it's an alchemist and they have like 50 health regen per second. When you hit them with that, they're not regenerating that health. So you can almost count that as damage, sort of. It's kind of like a 50 damage per second counter to 50 health per second. So if you think about it like that, 50 health per second over 10 seconds, that's 500 health. So even though there's tons of variables like how much health regen the enemy has, like what their max health is, this will generally be doing just a shit ton of damage. Like around 1,000 plus damage, just because of all these different damage, like pseudo damages that it does. So it's an incredibly strong nuke. It is global, although I talked about earlier how you really shouldn't be going for the long distance kills. It does not even require that much setup from allied heroes even. Like you think about what's an ultimate that requires a lot of setup? Okay, maybe this isn't... I'm trying to think of an ultimate that requires good setup. I guess Tidehunter, or not Tidehunter, Kunkka. So let's say the Kunkka ship. It works okay by itself. You can X-mark someone and solo kill them, but in a team fight you want something like Darkseer to use Vacuum, and you want someone like, I don't know, Enigma to use Black Hole, something that gathers them all up. But the reason is that because Kunkka's ship has such a long delay. Ice Blast, if you use it close range, is actually almost instantaneous with a couple of keystrokes. So if you're going for a kill, it doesn't necessarily need that setup from like a Darkseer or an Enigma or from a Magnus RP, which is pretty nice. But it works really, really well with those as well. So it's just a great ultimate, and his talents aren't that bad either. I should talk about. So I've been talking about his abilities and how poor his stats are. So let's move on to the talents. His 60 gold per minute talent is perfect. Usually you only see GPM talents at higher levels, 15, 20, 25, but Ancient Apparition is one of the characters who actually has it at a level 10 talent. Usually you also build Hand of Midas on him because you want to get an Aghanim Scepter, which increases his Ice Blast's frostbitten duration to 17 seconds, which is actually really, really good. But he actually does not require that much gold in the start. He just needs those levels to get to his talent, and if he can get a Midas at a reasonable timing, get that too, and then start working on the Aghanims. Past Aghanims, he really doesn't need anything else, so he can start spending all his money on wards, detection, and other stuff. So yeah, I really like playing Ancient Apparition and seeing him being played by pros. So yeah, I just wanted to talk about Ancient Apparition so much because I love that hero so much. Anyway, back to the treasures. So, wow, that was a hell of a tangent for a very long time. As you can see, my level is 1,835, and you might be saying, you said you were going to get to 2,000. Well, if you have any immortals in your inventory, you might know that by right-clicking on them, you can recycle them for 2 Battle Pass levels. So I will get through that and then get to you with a follow-up video, because I think I've talked too much in this video, about I'm going to get to level 2000 and then open all the treasures in between again, and I'll just be opening the treasures. I won't go on this huge ranting tangent about the meta and about Ancient Apparition. I really didn't talk that much about the meta, but you can see how the abilities, especially the ultimate, really slot in well with a lot of teams and how they want to use it. So anyway, thanks for watching. I'll get to recycling, and I'll see you in the next follow-up video. Goodbye.